Hello, everybody. I noticed some very interesting things happening today with the astrology, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to go live and to speak about it. So let's see what happens in this little exploration. We have two planets in Scorpio today, and the moon enters a sign and moves through a sign quite quickly. Venus has about a month-long cycle depending on the point in its longer cycle that it's in. So right now, Venus just entered Scorpio, I think within minutes or, within the half hour or something like that. And in astrology, every planet has a placement that is its domicile, and the opposite of that is its detriment, where it doesn't belong. Likewise, every planet has a exaltation and then a fall. And the fall and detriment are places where the planet gets a bit debilitated. Its function brings out darker aspects of the sign that it's in. And both, so the moon is in fall in Scorpio, and Venus is in, no, the moon is, Venus is in its fall in Scorpio, and the moon is in fall, Venus is in detriment. So both of these planets are debilitated in the sign, and we might be feeling the more intense scorpionic influences. Um, so, what is the sign of Scorpio, and how is that going to manifest? Scorpio is about death and rebirth. It's about investigation, about going deep into something. It's about retribution. It's about what's hidden and not seen. So, Scorpios are deep brooding types that have a lot of creative energy. And creative energy is also sexual energy. And you can see how Scorpio connects death and sex in the way that sexuality in the reproductive sense is this unconscious way that we escape death by creating new life forms. So, Scorpio is both life and death. It is the creative principle that brings forth new life, and it is the shedding of old identities, shedding of old versions of ourselves that comes up when we go into Scorpio. Because in order to go deep into our psyche, we have to let go of falseness. And Scorpio, more than anything else, hates lies. It hates anything that isn't the complete full truth. So we're going to be feeling intense and like we want to dive deep into things, and that perhaps the deep realm of our own desires come to the surface with both of these planets in Scorpio. And this will be something that we might feel very intensely today. As Venus first ingresses, it gives us kind of a view of all of the themes that we're going to be exploring until Venus moves into Sagittarius, which will happen on October 7th. And so notice what happens in your field today. Like, what's happening in your life? What emotions are coming up? How did you start the day feeling? And in these last hours, what has come to the surface for you? For me, this is about a sort of obsession. Scorpio is about obsession as well, because, right, Scorpio is very focused. It knows what it wants. And Scorpio really wants commitment. It really wants to see things through to the end. It wants to transform things. And in its commitment, it can become obsessive. So notice perhaps what you are fixated upon today, and recognize within that there is something that is needed, something you want to bring forth into reality. Though the attachment is one of the biggest issues with Scorpio energy, is that Scorpio can really latch onto what it wants to create, and then it becomes obsession. And obsession doesn't really help us, because the more that we attach to something, the more energetically we push it away. That is what the Pleiadians and other beings speak to in this formula, that follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability with zero insistence on an outcome. The zero insistence is what allows us to be open to all of the magic and all the potential the universe has to show us, and keep us in an aligned frequency. So notice where there are those stuck holding patterns of latching onto things, and look at what you have to let go of, because Scorpio energy is about shedding and letting go. So with the moon there today, and in some hours, like maybe like 12 hours from now, the moon opposes Uranus. And Uranus is these sudden, shocking revelations that send everything in a topsy-turvy direction. So the moon being our emotions, we may have an emotional revelation today. We may really get in touch with the thing that's going to be propelling our evolution in this next chapter. Um, and the moon changes signs very often, so the moon isn't altogether that important, though well, it's very important, but it's not as deep and as intense because it keeps changing and shifting, right? But in that sign of Scorpio, it's going to be telling what comes up today, and with that opposition to Uranus, the things that are going to be moving us through this whole next cycle. So that said, Venus itself is going to come up into obstacles in this cycle, as Venus is going to meet Saturn and Venus is going to meet Uranus as well. And Saturn, the hard aspects to it, like a square, which it will make, are considered in astrology things that afflict the planet, that bring out, again, shadows there. And Saturn restricts. It is cold and hard, especially in Aquarius, which rules coldness. So Venus being about love and connection and social things and money, there is this restriction to our connection with each other. But in that, what we're going to probably desire is a deeper sense of commitment from others, commitment not just from our romantic interests, but from people in our lives. We want to see our friends, are you fully committed to this? Are you fully engaged with it? And it is a time to then assess, if other people aren't as committed as I am, first of all, let me recommit to myself. Let me recommit to what my real goals are, because the Scorpio energy and its obsession will forget the big picture and focus in on just that small one thing that it wants so much. So you have to ask yourself with this energy, am I as committed to myself as I am to others and to these engagements? Because letting go of commitments is the best way to establish better new commitments. And what I see in the field right now is like a lot of people are being put in challenging situations that invite them to really commit deeper to their relationships, commit deeper to their affection and care for others. And Scorpio energy really wants that. Scorpio, more than anything else, wants to feel how deeply connected you are with them. So you might be feeling this coming up, and so that exact moment of the square is September 17th. And note around that time what's happening in your relationships, what is happening in your connections with others. And if they aren't as committed, commit more to yourself or invite that commitment to the surface. And if you don't see it happening, you might then move on. Then a couple days after the equinox on the 23rd, Venus opposes Uranus. And that will create, again, as Uranus' sudden change, a shift in our relationships, change and transformation in that area. Uranus is also cutting off, casting out. So that might be a time where more of that shedding happens. The things that come up with the square around the 17th, if you don't see the results that you want by the Uranus opposition, then it could be time to cast out and throw away things. And then Venus kind of moves forward without too much heavy hitters besides Jupiter. The square to Jupiter will create really strong feelings of love and passion. It's an overexcitement of that Venusian energy. And in that time, be careful of your obsessions. Be careful of giving too much energy into one particular thing or person, as that is the potential shadow of this Venus and Scorpio thing. Venus and Scorpio is also, as Venus is what we value, Scorpio being but also sexuality and money, it might bring our desire for those things more to the forefront. We might be feeling very like connected to this wild side and wanting to express our sexuality or wanting to connect to more ways of bringing in our finances. So it is a good time to focus on that, though no, with the hard aspects, there are more challenges than a normal time when Venus is in the sign of Scorpio, which is again the sign of its detriment. Um, so Venus will leave and enter Sagittarius on October 7th. So we have about a month of working with this energy, and it's really like Venus being this beautiful goddess energy, the goddess walking through the underworld, taking ourselves through the underworld of what might our hidden desires be. So in order to get in touch with all of these Venusian, these Scorpio aspects, like the deeper relating, the sexuality, more wealth, we have to connect with our own underworld. We have to own what we are wanting and find the right way to get to it. And at the same time, you know, what I'm learning in this energy today, as somebody with a lot of Scorpio energy and the moon opposing my Taurus moon today, it was like making me really clear of like wanting someone who's not good for me, seeing in such an objective way that this person is just at a lower density and they are not capable of meeting my needs and we just aren't a match, but they're still so attractive. They still pull me in even though they're not available. And this obsession, Scorpio obsession, is really a distraction from putting myself in the situations where there's actually greater levels of vulnerability, greater risk, and more reward. And so notice, you know, with the Scorpio energy, the false obsessions might just be the surface level, keeping you from fully diving into that underworld energy and seeing what's there. And learning to let go is Scorpio's greatest gift. Knowing when things are complete, when cycles are complete, when you've harvested all that you harvest in the fall and you prepare for the winter, because in tropical astrology, that's what Scorpio is about. It is this time, you know, the October, November time when summer's done, fall has arrived, and fall is actually transitioning into winter. The leaves have fallen, things are getting dark. And so within that Scorpio, their energy, there's kind of a yearning for the darkness. There's a yearning for the closeness that comes when we're moving through the winter. And there's a shedding of the things that we can't take with us as we walk through the underworld. And in the myths of the underworld, you know, you cannot take everything with you. Every goddess that walks through the underworld or being that walks through the underworld has to leave many things behind to take that plunge, to be able to be the living among the dead and to see through the darkness. So what are you holding that you cannot take with you is a really good question to ask through these transits and transitions. Let me look through the comments and see if there's any questions. Is it good to travel at that time? And well, if you're traveling in the end of September like that, you have to be aware of Mercury retrograde. Mercury will begin retrograde and station direct sometime around that point. So traveling with Mercury retrograde, you can do all of the things that people say not to do during Mercury retrograde, but you really have to get to a really clear place of a full body yes, because Mercury retrograde kind of puts us in this headspace of, do I may take this path or do I take that path? What's actually happening, right? And when we act from that place of indecision just to make a decision, like just to come to something conclusive, because that makes us feel like we're out of that headspace, that's when things usually spin out. And that's what a lot of people who go unconscious into Mercury retrograde do. It's not that it's not a time to make decisions, it's a time to really like get clear in your decision-making process. So there's that. questions. Okay, I'm launching something and feeling focused on it. What's your perspective? I feel full body yes. Yeah, I mean, if you feel the full body yes, go into it and let it bring you what it brings you. And Scorpio, the highest potential of Scorpio is this really deep creative work. Scorpio can be known for that really creative energy, especially the Scorpio moon. Scorpio moon, like I know a lot of Scorpio moon people who have a lot of struggles and challenges more than any other moon sign, because the moon is this deep emotional place within us, and Scorpio brings out the like deepest challenges in the emotional place, the deepest like need for connection, need for security, need for absolute certainty. And because of those things, like Scorpio moon people can be really like latch on very easy, and they'll latch on to maybe the darkest figures because they feel so kind of in the darkness themselves, that somebody else who represents that energy kind of feels more secure, like, and they just need that attachment so much. They cling and hook into that energy, and then it throws them in this crazy, horrible rabbit hole, which once they recover from, they soon will find a place of really immense creativity. And so with the moon there today and the next day, it's like hone in on your creative energies and get in touch with the limitations of your inner longing. You will get all that you seek at a point, but when we demand that it comes now, we prevent ourselves from seeing what the opportunities are. So keep yourselves open and um, stay in tune with yourself and stay in tune with others, and know that, yeah, this, especially with the Saturn contact, is going to bring up the sense that we really want commitment, we really want something solid, we want solid ground to stand upon. And facing our own limitations of connection will probably come up as well. Like, where are we limited in our ability to connect? Where are we not letting people in? Where are our attachment issues actually pushing people away? So these are all the questions that are really going to come up with this Scorpio Venus transit. And Mercury retrograde on top of that, like how that plays in. Again, Mercury in Libra is like demanding really clear communication. It really wants us to be so spot on, so transparent, so clear with everything that we're saying. Now, Mercury in pre-shadow now means the lessons we're learning now as Mercury moves forward to that point of, I believe, 27 Libra, where it starts to go backwards, are leading us to lessons about being more clear in our communication and discernment. And it's, yeah, Libra being discernment, Mercury being communication, and it really is all about that. And the clarity you bring into it is key. So that kind of balances the intense Scorpio energy with some of the Libra vibration. Um, so I made another video about the Mercury retrograde if you go back a little bit. But yeah, hopefully that stuff helps. I'm being chased by a Pisces man. I feel I can be vulnerable and also show my dark Scorpio side. How do you feel about that match? Well, Pisces is the sign that has been challenging the F out of me. And traditional astrology will say, astrology, not just traditional astrology, will say that Scorpio and Pisces are a great match. Two water signs, they create a trine, though they're very different elements of water. Pisces connecting to Jupiter and to Neptune, it's very exuberant and expansive and wants play and fun and creativity. Scorpio connecting to Mars and Pluto, it wants realness, intensity, and depth. And so there is this friction between those signs where Pisces is both here and there. It's two fish moving in opposite directions. It's contradictory because it's supposed to give you the sense of all that is. Within all that is, there are many contradictions. But Scorpio, on the other hand, wants absolute truth and wants absolute clarity and wants absolute security. Scorpio lives in this world of black and white sometimes, which Pisces does not do. And so the intensity of Scorpio can sometimes freak out Pisces who just want to play and have a good time and let everything be what it is. Scorpios latching on can really freak out Pisces. So there's no one answer because, with everyone, it depends on what's in their chart as well. But you want to really connect with the Pisces person and feel them, because Pisces thinks that they can hide their feelings but can't. And Scorpio is very attuned and perceptive. So, in order for Scorpio and Pisces to be a good match, Scorpio has to really use that sensitivity to feel where Pisces is at and let go of the way that Scorpio wants to relate, which is, I'm here, I'm intense, look at me, let's get to the truth. Pisces is more like, swim around it, swim around both sides of it before we get to any conclusions. Actually, there is no conclusion, it's all here. Um, so you have to feel where Pisces is at and recognize that Scorpio will stay fixated on something for a while, but Pisces can't keep any thought fixated for more than 2 minutes. Like, Pisces is here and then it's gone. So that's my advice on that one. How to go through the underworld and be in the dark night of the soul while still being in the society, needing to make money and have community while living out car your car and feeling indecision. Any thoughts? A lot here. um yeah, I mean, it's intense. Like, the world's intense for all of us. So it's I've been in challenging situations like that as well. And I think it's like, especially with Scorpio energy, which needs a lot of security, it's like, let your security come before your processing. And sometimes that's impossible. Sometimes it's like, I'm feeling so much, I can't take these practical steps to move me towards security. But if you really get to understand, which Venus and Scorpio is like valuing security, valuing intimacy, valuing a sense of safety and really control. Scorpio likes control over things a lot. So it's like, you're more capable of meeting community and meeting others when you do have a sense of control over your reality. And when you can see that as a means to the end of creating more connection, then taking care of yourself and doing what it takes to be in control of your reality will be really helpful. Just my thoughts on that. So some last thoughts on Scorpio energy. Scorpio has 3 symbols, and it's the serpent, it's the wolf, and it's the phoenix. And of course, the scorpion. A scorpion being the scorpion that killed Orion, once a great hero. So there is this energy of Scorpio that is, both medicine and poison, right? Scorpio can absorb toxic energies, and it can also transform toxic energies. Um, and then there's the serpent. That is the healing power. Scorpio's healing power. It is shedding skin. It is releasing the old. And serpents, again, being one of these most ancient creatures and representing our kundalini, our DNA, our innate healing power. It's about the movement from the depths, from the darkness, from the primal nature to the higher consciousness. So Scorpio shows us how the deepest, darkest parts of ourselves is what leads us to alchemy, to embodying our higher self. It's when we own the shadow of being human that we allow ourselves to become superhuman, because it's not this either or thing. And that's why a lot of people on an ascension path will try to portray themselves as this being of light for a period of time until collapsing and realizing, oops, well, that was inauthentic, that wasn't completely real, that wasn't the real me. They go through death and rebirth, reforming themselves anew, finding who they really are, and letting their human self come through and be just as divine and powerful and magical as they are. Um, so it's shedding the skin, death and rebirth, the wolf. The wolf is connecting with community, connecting with your tribe, caretaking in a sense. Um, and also, it has this energy of ferocity to it, right? Um, so there is a ferociousness to Scorpio. Connects to Mars after all. So it is about, in a sense, asserting our will and recognizing it's safe to have power, that our power is part of our healing and our power is a part of recognizing our place in this world. We all innately have power, but we live in a world that has stripped us of the access to our power. And reclaiming our power means we have to go into the underworld and see how we've disowned parts of ourselves that are our power. Most of them being, again, our agency, our sexuality, our attachment, and our creativity, and they all link together. So owning our power lets us be kind of like the wolf that becomes the pack leader, the wolf that has agency, the wolf that is a part of something and also wild, primal, free. Last is the phoenix. And the phoenix has to die every hundred some years. It commits suicide, it lights itself on fire. And the ashes lead to a new egg from which a new phoenix is birthed. And so the phoenix, which is the last decan of Scorpio, I'm born in that decan, so that is my totem of Scorpio. The phoenix has to set itself on fire. It has to literally destroy itself and all that it has been, and all of the aspects of that previous incarnation in order to walk into a complete new incarnation, a complete new sense of self. So this aspect of Scorpio is, connecting us to a sense of immortality. What is it that goes beyond death? It's not the persona, it's not the identity, it's the soul. So it's bringing us to connect with that eternal part of ourselves and learn that we can light fire to those things that don't serve us. And while there may be strong attachment, when we are willing to let go, we become something completely new. So people with Scorpio placements have to go through that rebirth a lot. And when Scorpio energy shows up in the chart, we all go through a collective rebirth. So hope that really helps, and that gives you some things to think about for this cycle. How do you feel about serving a 24-hour live? I don't know if I could do that. I mean, what if I walked around with my phone on live all day? That would be kind of crazy. Just showing you my day. I mean, it could be possible. One day I'll think about it. Anyway, I think I'm going to sign off for now. But thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm available for astrology readings. I'm available for channeling sessions. And the channeling course begins again in October. So tune in next week. Live stream again is every Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, let me know if you want to dive deep. I'm here for it. That's what I do. I am the Scorpio after all. So all of these themes, it was fun for me to speak about it because so much of it comes from just my personal experience being me. All right. I love you all. Peace.